Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us. We've had a little bit of a rocky start here, but you stuck with us, and we're so glad to have you joining us. As you come in, go ahead and just put in the chat your name, where you're joining us from, and what you're looking to get out of today's presentation. A lot of our attendees do utilize this as a means of networking. So if you put in your LinkedIn profile URL or your Facebook page, that's great. It's great to network with people even in a virtual environment. So I have a couple of slides I'm going to run through here. I do apologize for starting just a little bit late, but again, I want to thank you for joining us for learning how to start selling in Amazon's store. So before we get started, I'm going to run through a couple of things, let everybody get situated, grab a drink, make sure you're ready to go. And we are recording today's webinar, and you'll get a link to that recording so you can watch the webinar again. Now, so your webinar view doesn't lag, your mics are muted and your webcam should be turned off. So I do want to point out this webinar should not be considered legal or tax advice. The webinar is being recorded, as I said. When you have questions for Dan, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. I will be in the background. I keep an eye on the chat and that, but it's an easy way to separate out questions with the rest of the chat that goes on. So as I pointed out, you are in listen-only mode. In addition, if you are having audio issues, check your speakers, check your audio settings, and know that your internet connection can affect the quality of your sound. And let me just make sure I don't have anybody to, oh, I have a couple to admit. So I'll do that. I'll go back here. We'll move on. So I do need to share our SBDC story. We are part of the Texas Southwest SBDC network. As you can see on the slide, there are 10 field centers, and we are each hosted by a university or community college, and we cover 79 counties altogether here in South Texas. At the SBDC, we are committed to supporting and empowering entrepreneurs. Our mission is to foster small business success. Our goal is to provide you with training, mentoring, and resources you need to start and grow a successful business. We are funded in part by the state of Texas and the Small Business Administration to provide the small business support to our community. We are a resource partner with the Small Business Administration, but we are not the SBA, and we do not have access to those SBA records. Now, what you are seeing on this screen now is just an outline that shows not only the great state of Texas, but also where we are and where our network is. The network is in blue. As you can see, we run from El Paso to the Gulf Coast to south to the border. We ourselves here at the UHV SBDC cover 11 counties, and you see them in red. Now, if you're located outside of our service area or our network area, you see that QR code on the screen. You can use your smartphone, use that QR code, and go to americassbdc.org, and you can find the SBDC that provides service to you by entering your zip code. It's as easy as that. There are over 1,000 SBDC centers across the nation, and you are never far from small business assistance. Our services are no cost, confidential, and client-driven. From startup to expansion to transition, our advisors are available for the life cycle of your business. We encourage you to take full advantage of the ongoing services and sign up today. When you do that, you will get scheduled for time with one of the business advisors. That time is dedicated to you, your questions, and your business. We provide that confidential, personalized advice to help you develop a strong business plan, find funding, gain skills, all the things you see on the screen, and more. It's just endless how we can help a business. In addition, we have training, just like you're attending here today. And we have access to specialty resource centers that can help our small business clients. And that is also at no cost for our clients. Now, as I said before, business advisors do not provide legal or tax advice. We leave that to our lawyer and CPA friends. And let me go back and admit some more folks. And I want to give a shout out. We are to Dan Corcoran. He is joining us from Amazon. He is the program manager of small business partnerships and education. His focus is on driving the success of small business owners and working with teams across the company to deliver programs that support their continued growth. He joined Amazon in July of 21 as an area manager in operations. Prior to Amazon, he has worked for the Philadelphia Parks and Rec Department. He is a graduate of Penn State, so I gave him the We Are shout out. We have a few of those Penn State grads in the family too. And he holds a Bachelor of Arts in International Politics. And with that, I am going to stop sharing. I'm going to admit some more folks, and I'm going to let Dan go ahead with his slides because that's what you guys are here for today.
All right, let's share my screen, get things started. Also, real quick, everyone, if you could put in the chat if you can hear me okay. Just want to confirm that before diving into all the material.
I'm seeing some thumbs up. People can
Some
hear you.
thumbs
That's
up.
great.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just going to put this in presenter mode. So I'm going to exit. Minimize this.
There we go.
Awesome. And
Perfect.
Gene, I can't see the chat as of now, so if anything pops up, just feel free to come off of mute and let me know, and then I'll rectify that on my end. Cool.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's get started. My name is Dan Corcoran. I'm a public communications program manager on Amazon Small Business Partnerships and Education team. Basically, the purpose of our team is to support and scale the success small business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself. A little bit about me, as Gene mentioned, I went to Penn State. I worked for the Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Department at one point in my life, and then transferred over to Amazon a couple of years ago in their operational facilities. Really had to obtain a ground level understanding of the business from that point, and now shifted over to my current role. And today we'll be discussing how to start selling an Amazon store. So going through today's agenda, we're going to really run the gambit here. We're going to start, why should you sell an Amazon store? What to sell and when to sell that, how to get started, listing products, delivering those products, opportunities for growth, and much more, such as additional resources. So why should you sell an Amazon store? It's a very fair question. So one of the main motifs Amazon has is that customers are always going to value the wide selection, low prices, and fast, convenient delivery. So always good to keep that in mind when thinking of the customer. And when you start selling an Amazon store, not only do you become part of this retail destination home to customers from across the world, but you become home to a store in essence that's home to millions of customers as well, located from around the world as mentioned, and here in the US when there's over hundreds of millions of prime customers, and for Amazon business, B2B business, that is, there's over 6 million there. And as mentioned, there's a number of stores globally. Some are larger marketplaces where we have a presence, and those economies, say in Europe, are the UK and Germany. But you can also look to the east in Asia and look at Japan there, which is, to my knowledge, the third largest economy in the world, or maybe fourth at this point behind Germany. Point being is there's opportunity. So you may start out in the United States, but that doesn't mean you always have to stay in the United States when selling your product. So what does this really represent? Well, one thing we always like to put out there is that more than 60% of sales in Amazon store actually come from these independent sellers, most of which are small, medium-sized businesses. Because when people think of Amazon, they may think of a lot of first-party sales, but these independent sellers are generating most of Amazon's retail sales. So it's always good to keep that in mind. And this figure is a global one. It's always good to also know that as well. So what does that really mean for independent sellers? Well, in Texas alone, there's over 38,000 independent sellers. And in 2022, which is where this data is from, is most up to date. In 2022, they sold over 180 million products alone, just in that state. So I think it really represents growth, it represents opportunity, it represents kind of this store where you have access to not people just in your state or locally or just domestically, but also internationally. So what to sell and when? Two key questions. So what to sell? Generally speaking here, for entrepreneurs and small business owners, starting out with e-commerce especially, it's easier to start selling products or convenient to package and ship. Products have branding potential, meaning that you have and own the IP to that product, and products that are affordable for customers. Looking at it through like a broad scope and discounting like niches, price points between say $15 and $75 is what really sells via e-commerce stores. And then lastly, products have a long shelf life. That doesn't have to be, say, 6 months or a year, but more than a few weeks. You're not going to be selling most likely dairy unless you have those specialized fulfillment considerations in mind. So when to sell an Amazon store? Another key question that as an executive decision maker can only make, but one kind of thing you want to have on hand is your product. And that may sound like incredibly obvious, but it's more than just your product. You want a product that can also be ready and shipped to the customer. And speaking of the customer, you want to understand who your customer is, your customer demographic, what they want, what they need, and how you're kind of supplying that to them. Another key part of this is your supply chain and having a reliable one, in place, because you never know exactly when you might meet an increase in demand for your product, and understanding your lead times, understanding how all that works and your fulfillment process is all key to satisfying the customer and generating revenue. So how to get started? Now we're going to dive into a lot of more, say, the thought process behind this and some of the key pointers. So through Amazon, we currently offer two selling plans, individual and professional. With the individual selling plan, that comes at 99 cents on every unit you sell. You can think of it as a generally kind of starter plan for people who want to really dip their toes in e-commerce in essence. You'll pay 99 cents on every unit you sell. And then if you have limited access to certain programs, but you can always upgrade to, say, the professional plan. And the professional plan, just a secondary option, you pay a flat fee of $39.99 per month, no matter how many units you sell. And you also have access to all the programs Amazon has to offer. Just thinking of it from a financial point of view, if you're confident and believe and your goal is to sell more than 40 units per month, financially speaking, it makes more sense to go with the professional selling plan. But it's reversible, as mentioned, and there's no pressure to buy into one or the other while starting out. So once you have that in mind, you can go to sell.amazon.com for B2C or D2C in this case, or business.amazon.com for B2B. Either or, if you sign up through B2B, you have like a business to business business model. You can always your product listings, and when you create a product, it's always available through Amazon.com and the D2C store interface as well. But getting back to the point here, when you create your account, you go to sell.amazon.com, and when you do this, you want to have a few items of information on hand. One being your banking number and your routing number, just two right off the bat, but also a chargeable credit card, state issued ID, your tax information, and a way to contact you, such as your phone number. So those are top line information, pretty superficial and high level, but it's always good to know that when signing up so you don't encounter any delays. And once you do sign up, you'll get access to Seller Central. You can think of Seller Central as your one-stop shop to navigate your Amazon business. And what Seller Central really provides is this portal to keeping track of your inventory, keeping track of daily sales, accessing education such as Seller University, which I'll touch on later, contacting seller partner support, and everything in between, such as creating a product listing. And something we encounter in here a lot when people are interested in starting, who are interested in growing a business in our store, is where do I start? What do I need to do? What are some key things I should keep in mind? And that's why we launched the Leverage Quick Start Guide. It gives you first steps and recommendations for your first 90 days selling an Amazon store. So you kind of know what you should invest some of your time in and resources when you start selling. And you're not wondering and just guessing. Now we'll go into how to list products. So what you need for a listing. One is a global trade item number, also known as a UPC, Universal Product Code, and just product ID. You can purchase them from GS1, which is the standard here at Amazon and across most retailers. But this product ID allows the retailer, say Amazon in this case, to identify what exact product you're selling in our store. So key to keep that in mind. You can request an exemption from this, but when you're thinking of scaling and just adding products, it would make more sense, and you're planning to do this across, say, several retailers, it makes sense to get that GS1 tag or product ID tag and have that for, all your products. Then another thing you'll need is your stock keeping unit. This is unique to each retailer and just allows you to keep track of what unit is what you're selling, basically. So if you're selling shirts and you have a black shirt and a blue shirt, they'll be labeled different, and it's really for your purposes of knowing what individual products are being sold and how they differ or vary, such as like variations in those shirts. Then some other information will be product title, product description, bullet points, product images, and then search terms and relevant keywords. And once you have that together, you can go to Seller Central. And if you're adding a new product to the store, meaning you're not reselling a product, you'll go to Seller Central and look for the Add a Product tab there as well. Very simplistic, very straightforward so far. And when creating your product listing, there's like this magic behind it. I think a lot of people think of it that way, that, I need to get X, Y, and Z right to get this visibility and have this amount of exposure. But it also boils down to some key concepts that are rather just straightforward. You want to have a clear title, meaning that people understand what you're selling. You want to have these high quality images, so it's crisp and clean, and that way, it's not pixelated or overly digitized and it looks just not good or unsavory. And then you want accurate, succinct product descriptions. So people, if the title doesn't do it for them, but they're intrigued nonetheless, they can look at your product description and in 2 to 3 sentences, they know exactly what they'll be purchasing. And then going specifically in the title, you can take a picture of this slide, but I'll dive into some of these recommendations. You want to capitalize the first letter of each word, but you don't want to capitalize every word, or else it just looks like you're yelling at the person. You want to use numerals instead of, say, the letters too. So you can see that on the screen. What I mean by that, you want to keep it succinct. As mentioned, 50 characters is here, but I believe it can go up to 200. And you want to avoid special marks or special characters, such as a ampersand or the copyright, all that you just want to leave out. Then don't include the price. The price is listed separately, and that's something that just kind of be a redundancy and take up space in your product title. Lastly, avoid subjective commentary, in essence, like best product or best this, best selling, most favorited. Just avoid that. That's not something that should be in the title or really in your product listing altogether. You can let the customers kind of put that in their reviews. And we also understand that product listings are important. And me personally speaking, when it comes to emails or anything creative, I'm like, how can I generate ideas from this? And that's why we also have an AI plugin that's available through Seller Central that allows sellers to simplify this process. Because with very few details that you plug into this AI program and tool, it will generate some title, it will generate product titles, bullet points, and descriptions for you. And you can take them, you can leave them, you can ideate on it, edit it, do whatever you please. But really, I would say sets you up for a position of at least having that material and allowing you to edit and ideate on it, so you're not just starting from scratch. So that's always good to keep in mind as well. Something that a lot of people maybe hear today or elsewhere when you're thinking about their product and just, they want to generate sales, they want to grow their business. But we like to always put out there too is you want to protect yourself on the back end as well. And what I mean by that is you want to protect your intellectual property. You know, if you are doing great in Amazon store, but you don't have a active, or anywhere for that matter, but you don't, well, I'll speak specifically to Amazon, but you don't have a active trademark, then your product is susceptible to counterfeits and intellectual property, the non-existent intellectual property, then it's susceptible to counterfeits. And that's why we have Amazon Brand Registry. Amazon Brand Registry allows you to input your active trademark information into this program, and from there, your product listing will be protected and monitored by tech professionals across the company. Meaning that if someone tries to create a counterfeit of your product and label it the same and say this is basically your product when it's not, then you can report that to one of our many tech professionals, thousands of them, and they'll look into it and get that resolved for you. But the issue comes is when you don't have that active trademark and it's not registered through brand registry, and then you try to report it, then there's nothing we can really do on our end because you're not going back to anything. There's nothing to solidify or prove that, legally this is your product, this is your IP. We also understand that not everyone has an active trademark. That's not everyone's number one priority when first starting out. Not most of the time, if not all the time. But we create a program called Amazon IP Accelerator. Amazon IP Accelerator connects you, small business owners, with trusted US law firms from across the country to provide pre-negotiated rates to ensure that you get that intellectual property protection. And once you even obtain the pending trademark, you can register through brand registry when you do it through IP Accelerator, that is. So a brand store. A lot of unique places have their own way of showcasing the business owner and showcasing the products. But when speaking to e-commerce, we hear a lot of the times from small business owners that one of the barriers is bringing themselves and their brand to that virtual destination, Amazon in this case. And brand stores actually do exactly that because it offers you the opportunity, people who own their own brand and are registered through brand registry, to upload their entire product catalog, who they are as a business owner, bring this kind of aesthetic and this persona of their business, their brand in essence, to the store. And basically, you can do it for free. It's an exclusive feature to selling an Amazon store, and you can get started and upload your entire product catalog there. And even if you just have a couple products or a few, one even, it would be worth exploring because if you add any, or if people are just interested in who you are as a business owner, they can check out your brand store to learn more. So I'm going to take a quick pause to let people catch up on notes. We will save questions for the end, which may have been mentioned, but we're going to save questions for the end nonetheless. Go ahead, take a quick pause, and then we'll jump into how to start delivering products. Cool. Hopefully people have caught up on their notes, working through things, and now we're going to go into how to deliver products. So through Amazon, we offer three pretty much methods. Fulfillment by Amazon, which is where you ship your products to one of our fulfillment centers, then we take care of the pick, pack, stowing, shipping, delivery, and customer service for that product. With fulfillment by merchant, that's on the business owner to strategize. There's a number of other 3PL services that offers, similar to FBA, but it's just not associated with Amazon. Then there's also Seller Fulfilled Prime. So Seller Fulfilled Prime is recently launched. It was, a program a few years ago. They discontinued it and now brought it back. And what this program allows you to do is it allows you to enroll in this trial period, see if you can meet Amazon standards for shipping and delivery, which I believe it is less than a 97 on-time delivery, or 97% on-time delivery rate or more, and then less than a 0.5 defective rate for the products. So it's high standards, but if you enroll in this trial and you achieve these standards after 30 days, I believe the marker is, then you can obtain that Prime badge listing, or Prime badge on your product listing page. And with the Prime badge, and why that's so sought after, is ensures this quality experience. As I think most people have encountered when they buy a product and they're not too familiar with the fulfillment process or even the company, there's always that thought in the back of your mind that, what if I have to return this? And if I do have to return this, how's that going to look? God forbid I look in the fine print and returns, aren't allowed, or I have to do pretty much manage all this on my own and I only get 50% back or store credit. So in essence, I think that Prime badge is such a value add because it ensures that quality experience for the customer, which makes people, at least in my opinion, I'll speak for myself, makes me more likely and open to buying a product, even though I'm like, we'll see, we'll see how when it turns out and how much I like it or not. So I think it can, from myself speaking, increase that purchasing likelihood. Moving forward to saving time and growing business with FBA. So as mentioned, with FBA, once you ship your products to the fulfillment center, Amazon takes care of the rest. The picking, the packing, the shipping, and customer service inquiries. All your products are eligible for Amazon Prime. And as mentioned in length, people get that trusted customer service experience. And even, most of the time when there's not returns, that's even better, obviously. Returns are the unfortunate reality that, sometimes here and there happen. And when comparing different carriers and different options, you could look at, a number of 3PL services as mentioned, but we have found internally that compared to premium carrier or major carriers and their premium options, FBA is 70% less expensive on average and 30% less expensive on average for standard options as well. So I would always encourage people to do their research, look around, but FBA fulfilled by Amazon, depending on who you are as a business owner, what your product is a great option and a complete value add. And we have seen that selling partners on average when adopting FBA increase their sales from anywhere from 20 to 25%. But I would say check it out for yourself. You could look at FBA Revenue Calculator. That allows you to get an approximation of how much fulfillment by Amazon would cost you as a business owner. So it's good to keep that in mind, that you can always, see approximately how much this service would come to you as a business owner before enrolling in it. So opportunities for growth. This is going to talk about some discoverability, some ways to get reviews, and I'm really looking forward to going into this section. But I'll take another quick break, let people catch up on notes, let their minds process and digest some of that information, and we'll dive in just a moment. Let's do it.
And I just want to remind people, as you
Mhm.
come up with questions for Dan, go ahead, put them in the Q&A. That way they don't get lost in the chat. And we want to make sure that we do get your questions answered. So, and we got a couple in there already, some good ones.
Nice. Yeah. And keep those going. And just as a reminder that I cannot see anything outside of like my screen itself. So I can't see if someone's like, oh, can you go back to that slide? I cannot see that at this point. So I'm not ignoring your comments or remarks. I simply just cannot see them. So Amazon Vine. Amazon Vine, let's think of it this way. How many people look at product reviews before purchasing a product? You're exploring a new product that you haven't bought before. Who checks out the product reviews? Generally speaking, I would say most people are at least interested in that star rating. And what Amazon Vine kind of comes in and helps new cold start products do is obtain those product reviews. So through Amazon buying, you can receive insightful reviews from some of our most trusted customers because we invite our most customer trusted reviewers into Vine to become Vine voices. And with this program, you offer your product to them for free. This is, and then they order it, that gets sent to them, and they leave a thorough, not just best product ever. No, they leave a thorough product review that might include actual feedback, things for you to improve your product, but could also just be a 5-star or something outstanding that they really liked, but really provides detail and not just a few words. And you can enroll with Amazon Vine and get as many as 30 high quality reviews per product page. It's good to keep that in mind too, because even after a couple product reviews, we have seen sales increase by over 3.5 times, and specifically Vine reviews have been shown to boost sales by over 30%. I think that really speaks to the thoroughness and in-depth of each of these reviews. And some key things to keep in mind with this program is the eligibility for them for Vine. So it's a little wonky, but I'll basically say that you want to enroll in brand registry that I spoke of earlier within 6 months of selling an Amazon store. So 6 months after creating your product listing. And then after, say, enrolling in brand registry, which is not too long of a timeline once submitted, you want to enroll in Amazon Vine within 90 days of that. So just 2 quick timelines to keep those in mind when looking at Amazon Vine. So going to discoverability, people are always curious about how can I get my product to Amazon's first page? I never go to the second page. I like the second page personally, but I know that's not for most people. And this is where sponsored products comes in. Sponsored products allows you to elevate individual product listings to higher levels, say the first page, and can advertise it there. They pop up on relevant search queries and search pages. So we'll use teddy bears, for example. Someone types in fluffy teddy bears and that's in your product description or in your advertising solution description, campaign description, and there's keywords, then that should pop up. But you don't have to worry about that much because Amazon has automatic keyword targeting based on your product listing page already. So you don't even have to worry about what best words to use because Amazon will generate and do that through our algorithm already. Good to keep in mind that these sponsored product ads are cost per click, so you don't pay for an ad until it's clicked upon or until your listing is clicked upon. So good things all around. But some people have more than just a product. Some people have the brands. They have a few products and they don't know what one, or they want to advertise all of them, or maybe just their entire brand altogether. And that's where sponsored brands would be a better solution for you. Because sponsored brands allows you to elevate, pick up to 3 products, choose your logo, a custom headline, or even a video, and have them this more holistic way of advertising your product. As mentioned, it still features in shopping results and search pages and is still cost per click. So there's a different way of advertising. And as mentioned, you do have to be a brand owner to leverage this advertising solution. Amazon Live, with Gen Z and younger generations and just all different people for that matter, they enjoy various modes of shopping, and some people enjoy live stream shopping. And this is where Amazon Live kind of steps in because Amazon Live allows brands and influencers to connect directly with shoppers through live stream, where they can increase product and brand visibility. And even if, say, your live stream just gets a few views, it wasn't, that crazy, that past live stream will appear on a product listings page. So people, when they're going to your product listing page, sometime down the line or whenever, they can see that video right there that you previously live streamed. And best, say, practices for live streaming or best ideas for live streaming could be product unveilings, unboxings, trying on the product. Just some key things there to generate ideas. Good to keep in mind that this program is only available through iOS at this point. So, like to call that out before just promising the moon and the stars here. Also, I would like to emphasize the data point that if you're watching a video or, customers that watch videos are over 3.5 times likely to convert the non-viewing customers. Now, that's not directly just to live streams, but more so just product videos in general. So by doing a live stream, you can almost like knock out, as they say, kill one bird with two stones. Then there's sponsored display. Sponsored display is a unique way of advertising because it reaches audiences on and off Amazon store. And what that means is they can reach audiences on Twitch, IMDb, a number of other sites that are third-party subsidiaries of Amazon. And how this is measured is through cost per click or cost per 1,000 viewable impressions. But the really unique, say, aspect of this program is it targets customers based off interest in shopping behaviors. So someone's looking on for TVs and you sell TVs, and then they go over to Twitch or IMDb or a number of other sites, then or Zappos, and looking for shoes, then those ads can appear there as well. So it's not just in Amazon store. And as mentioned, it also goes off customers' interest and shopping behaviors. Another program that is quite interesting is Buy with Prime. Buy with Prime allows brand owners, people who say sell an Amazon store or may not sell an Amazon store, but at least have a brand website where they sell their product, to bring that Prime experience to their website. It offers convenient checkout, the benefit of that fast, trusted delivery to all Prime members. And through a study, we have seen that you can increase conversion on average of 25% through offering that free delivery and checkout experience that shoppers love. But once again, I'll just reiterate or emphasize that I think it just speaks to that trusted experience. Because if you're on someone's brand website and you're still growing, you're not the most known company or just known locally or regionally, and someone who is not too familiar with your company is looking to make that first time purchase, I think have, or at least offering the option that you can purchase through, or not purchase, but get your product fulfilled through Prime, adds that credibility. Adds that credibility that this product is going to arrive, and it's going to arrive, more than likely when it says to. And if there's any issues, I can take care of that as well. It's a trusted experience. Another thing that came out in 2022 was the Small Business Badge. The Small Business Badge identifies products specifically from small businesses, small, medium-sized businesses, and brands, and places a small business badge on our product listing page. Now, this helps customers and shoppers not only identify, but shop, support, and purchase from small businesses. So keep that in mind. We also have a storefront. You can go to amazon.com/support small to discover products from small, medium-sized businesses. But say you just kind of want to do that more on a regular basis, but for certain products. So I don't want to visit the storefront. I want to look up shoes, sneakers I'm buying. Well, this is where the small business search filter kind of comes to play. The small business search filter is when you look up a product, go in the teddy bear, you look up a product with a teddy bear, you go to the filters off the left-hand side, I believe, go down to filters, you can go to business type, hit small business, and then after clicking that, only products that are coming from small and medium-sized businesses will appear. So good to keep that in mind when thinking of how I can say, or if I want to support small businesses, how I could do that. Now, finally, I'll wait a quick moment, but we'll jump into additional resources in just a second to wrap things up. And then obviously Q&A following. Okay, Amazon Handmade. Amazon Handmade is a program exclusively for artisans. Artisans from around the world can now reach millions of customers through this program, and it has, a number of unique benefits and other things as well that kind of make it quite appealing. So this program, the eligibility criteria is your product needs to be either handmade, hand altered, or handcrafted. Got a lot of questions of what hand altered is. So say you wholesale jean jackets and then you bedazzle those jean jackets, that's hand altered. You also need to be a brand owner in Amazon store. So you're registered through Amazon brand registry and you have that all settled. But it's reviewed through an application basis. So, you have your product that's handmade, hand altered, or handcrafted, and it's registered through Amazon brand registry, and you're reviewed, you get admitted to the program. The benefits of the program are one, the referral fees come at a standard 15% referral fee in the store, which is competitive across a number of e-commerce stores. A secondary benefit to this, though, is that professional seller's fee. That professional seller's fee, if you're mid to the program, is waived. So that's about an annual savings of $500 per year. And then lastly is the brand store. Because I think it's like, especially for artisans here, the opportunity to showcase your entire catalog in one destination and bring your, brand to life is quite, it's quite valuable because your products could vary quite a bit if compared to someone who's solely selling different types of shoes. Like, you kind of get the gist of this. And artisans may have just a number of different unique products, so allowing them to showcase all of it in one location, I think, is extremely advantageous. Now we're going to Amazon Small Business Academy. The Amazon Small Business Academy offers free educational webinars and resources to entrepreneurs and small business owners. You can attend them live or on demand. And it's really, I think this part is quite interesting too, because if you sign up for this program, basically it's complimentary, it's free. But when you sign up, you take this six question track, I believe it is, and from the answers of that track or from that questionnaire, you're pretty much geared towards certain courses. So you know what courses would be most relevant and most, say, helpful to you at a certain time at your entrepreneurial journey. Because if you're in a starting phase or the ideation phase, that's going to be much different content than the launching phase. So having that distinction between the different phases and the content could be incredibly useful to you, and make sure you're not wasting, your valuable time. Then we have Founders Table. Founders Table is a event series that features a subject matter expert and a number of fields. It's a pretty much a quarterly basis, and we take in that subject matter expert, interview them on a certain field, such as access to capital. They provide their best practices, what they learned over their years, and it's quite interesting and just gives you that more sit-down feel of just learning through this expert and master in their respective domain. Another key thing, or another thing that I'd like to point out, is the Small Business Podcast. The Small Business Podcast features a number of different small business owners and people active in this industry, and each episode peels back the current on their journey, talks about their barriers, what they found to be most successful and what's most useful to them. And it's more, I would say, easier to listen to. Personally speaking, I do better and can multitask better when listening to a podcast and still learning, but don't have to devote my full attention to it at that given time. You can find this a Small Business Podcast at smallbusiness.amazon, but also, Apple, Spotify, a number of other places. So Seller University and Seller Forums. Seller University, so quite the contrast from, say, Amazon Small Business Academy is with Seller University. This content is geared specifically towards Amazon store. So if you're looking just generally more e-commerce geared educational content, that'd be the Small Business Academy. But if you're learning like, hey, I want to find out more about fulfillment by Amazon, that'd be Seller University. Through Seller University, you can attend webinars, ask questions to subject matter experts. You can do this through your Seller Central portal once becoming a seller. But there's also a free version on YouTube that is updated as well, just not as consistently as the Seller Central one. Then there's Seller Forums. Seller Forums is basically a place where you can connect with other sellers, receive updates, and just learn about different issues or solutions other selling partners are facing and figuring out. Now we have our Black Business Accelerator. Amazon's BBA program is a $150 million commitment to help build Black-owned sustainable businesses. This is done by offering key things such as access to mentorship and business guidance, access to capital, and promotional marketing credits in our store, and financial support, not to mention. Qualifications for the program: one, you need to have a product that is ready to be, sold and launched in our store, and then you're, say, registered in our store as well, a professional seller's account. You want to have that all ready to go. But another key qualification for the program is having your minority-owned business certification all in line too. We understand that a lot of people don't have that already because it could be quite this, laborious process to do so. And that's why we recommend people go through Supplier Gateway. Supplier Gateway is this expedited, say, platform or program that allows you to get that certification on this more quicker basis, in essence. So key to keep in mind, you can check more out about Amazon's Black Business Accelerator at sell.amazon.com/BBA. So quick shout out to some of our partners too. While we wrap things up, partner with a number of organizations, some of which are here. America's Small Business Development Center. We have Institute for Veterans and Military Families, IBMF, SCORE, and we partner with a number of organizations across the country that serve different geographics and demographics. And while we get prepared, or while I get prepared to answer your questions, before that, I just please ask you to share your feedback. I can drop a link in the chat, but I'll allow you guys to scan this real fast or have a moment to. Your feedback is incredibly valuable. If you enjoyed this presentation or didn't, either way, please fill it out, share your feedback. It goes a long way and helps us, our team, to do better next time or to keep things going, or both. So please, just scan your phone with it. 6 questions or 5 questions, and it's much appreciated and goes a long way. So with that, I'll leave up for another second so people have a chance to whip out their phones. I can also drop the link in the chat, but let's jump into a Q&A.
Okay. And we do have a lot of questions in that Q&A, and I really appreciate people taking time to put them in there. So let's get started. The first one, and this comes from the chat, but I put it into Q&A. Is there a sandbox version of Seller Central for people to explore before signing up?
That's a great question. So I wouldn't say there's like a sandbox version we can check things out, but if you go on like Seller University on YouTube, you through different videos can learn more about Seller Central itself. So it's not something that you would be able to interact with exactly, but you could still learn more about the interface of it and and how you can navigate your business from there too. So if you're curious about Seller Central and how to navigate it, I would still go to Seller University and just like type that in, and should give you some good pointers from there.
And we'll include those links in the follow-up email that I send out. So if you don't get it today, don't worry. We'll make sure that you do have the links, not only for that, but for all the assistance that Amazon has out there for small business to join them on their platform. So our next question is, I am in brand registry under my company's brand name. I also have a trademark for the product I'm selling. Should I add this product also to brand registry in addition to the company brand name, or will it mess things up?
So you just cut out for a quick second. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna try to bring this question up on my screen as well. But could you repeat that? Yeah, like the first part of it I heard the end.
So I am in brand registry under my company's brand name. I also have a trademark for the product I'm selling. Should I add the product also to the brand registry in addition to the company brand name, or will it mess things up?
No, you should definitely trademark and have a trademark protecting your individual product listings, because that's what's really for, is the individual product listings here, because you could have a product that is protected in one case and then have another product that isn't. So you should ensure that your individual products do have those trademarks.
Okay, and our next question kind of leads off of that. If I sell books that are copyrighted, can I set up a brand store?
I don't believe so, because they are not your intellectual property, and you would not be able to register them through brand registry.
Okay, our next question is, Dan, what do you think about programs that are being offered, and it has sold in parentheses, to teach you how to sell on Amazon? Is there a program that you recommend for someone who is just starting to learn?
That's a great question. So there's a lot of people, say Amazon gurus nowadays, who offer their services at quite the premium to say teach you how to sell an Amazon store or run your business for you. There's a number of issues with that. I would say one, the high price point, but I would also make mention that these people are external to Amazon and don't exactly have understand the nuances, the developments to the program. And I'll just give you an example. The presentation I just delivered, that's changed on a, if not daily, then weekly basis to account for these nuances and these updates. And to provide some actual like feedback, something that you could, that could be helpful to you, I recommend, depending on what you're learning or want to learn about, if it's generally e-commerce geared, I would learn through Amazon Small Business Academy. I recommend going through that questionnaire, get those recommended tracks. They contract a number of experts in the e-commerce space to provide these webinars. So it's not just random people bringing out these slides. They're just esteemed e-commerce experts. But also, if you want to learn specifically about Amazon, I would make mention to check out Amazon Seller University through YouTube if you don't have a seller's account. And that I do that already on my own, just keep up on some things or learn a bit more, or how can I have augment my understanding. So I'd recommend checking out Seller University as well. So those two resources I would recommend leveraging.
And that's a great point, that you can't stop learning once you get your products up on Amazon. You need to keep learning as things change. So that's awesome. Our next question is from Marty, and they want to know, some products that we own are also sold by other companies on Amazon. How can we get control of our listing for the products? We've run into issues if there is another seller for a specific product.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It depends if you own the intellectual property or not. Because, for example, if you own the IP rights to the specific product, you can file a claim through brand registry, submit that, and we, as mentioned, have tech professionals that handle this specific issue. If you don't own the product, you don't own the intellectual property to it, there's not too much you can do, because it's, I guess, fair game, even though not ethically, but legally it is.
Okay. Our next question comes from Angel. Are we allowed to sell items purchased from a wholesaler? If so, are there size and weight limits?
So there are size and weight limits. You can find that out. I could send that resource to Gene after, and like, to not speculate and give you the exact size and weight limits. It really depends what you're looking to sell. Like, I would say most people's products fall under those limits, but learning more about what the product is, I may be able to give like a better answer.
Okay, and I will be including Dan's contact information. So if you think of a question after we leave here today, don't worry, you'll have an ability to reach out to somebody and pose your question. So JD asks, he's in California, or they are in California. Will I need a reseller permit?
So depending on what products you are selling. If you're, I guess, in this case, if you're reselling the products, you have to make sure it's in line with that you're not infringing upon someone's intellectual property. But if it's one of those like products when you're selling shirts and there's a number of resellers on it, then you would not, I would say, need that IP like protections. But it really depends on the product. So I would return it to that. That depends on what you're selling and what that is. Like Nike shoes would not be, you would not be allowed to do that, for example.
Baber has a question. I probably will send you the whole question offline, but in reading through that, if you have a business on Amazon and it gets suspended, is there a dedicated account manager that can help you figure out what went wrong and get you back on?
No, there's not a dedicated account manager that can help you get back on exactly, but there is feedback as to why that happened. And through that, you should be able to take away. Like, there is something called account health. You can see where you're faring. So through that account health, and you can see if like you're in risk of being suspended, you can check that out and see through Seller Central, this is, and you can see what actionable feedback or what things went wrong, and that'd be through Seller Central as well.
Okay, Julie would like to know, Do you think most people use Prime?
Yes. Yes. Well, I guess you would have to define, like, if you meant sellers, I would say yes. If you then meant customers, I would also say yes, but just want make that clear, or ask as well.
I think that's true as well. Okay, our next question. JD would like to know, does the small business badge increase conversions? And that's an excellent question.
That's a fantastic question. Nowadays, I think, especially in younger generations such as Gen Z, who are more value based and want to support certain businesses, such as small businesses, they are drawn towards these unique identifiers, such as this badge. So by doing that, I think you open up yourself to these generations, to these consumers that allow you to, that allow them to support you. So I don't see that as any I see it all as like upside in essence. And there's no like exact data that immediately comes to mind that I have on hand, but I would say that people who want to support small businesses and still have convenience of doing so, it's a great outlet for that to happen.
Okay, and we have a couple more questions, and while we're answering them, I'll just draw everybody's attention. We also do a post-event survey, not just Amazon. So I've got thrown up on the screen, and if you could just snap a picture, go to the QR code, and go take our survey, we'd appreciate it. And we're like, it's just like Dan's survey. It's less than a minute, but it's really important. We both need to
Yeah.
know how we've done today. I won't say the whole world depends on metrics, but when you all write your comments in, I read them, and it does affects how we move from here. So our next question is from Julie. How
And
do I find?
I'm sorry, Gene. I just want to
No, go
quickly
ahead.
interject that. For the people who couldn't scan the code or didn't have the ability, I also put the link in the Q&A as well. It's just for convenience sake, so you can just click on it. So yeah, please fill out both those surveys. But yeah, please continue.
So Julie would like to know, how do I find products to sell? Can I get help connecting with international products?
You would have to define like internationally sourced products. But I mean, I'll put that to the backside for now. So if you're curious about what products to sell, we have a program called Product Opportunity Explorer. And at a very high level, it allows you to look in certain niches within Amazon store and see where there's opportunity for a new product to come about. So if you see some, like, if in essence the tool can bring you into different niches, and say it's a niche for dog beds, and you look in that niche and you see that this one product listing has 70% or 50% of the click share rate for dog beds. But it's not too well reviewed. There's some complaints. They don't offer Prime, for example. That would represent an opportunity for someone to come in and bring about a better product for a dog bed, for example. So that's a good product, or that's a good example, excuse me. And it's something you could leverage on your own and figure out. So it doesn't have to be dog beds. Could be a number of other things, some of which maybe you could be more passionate about.
Okay, this question came from the chat. Can we do our own Amazon line? Like if I go on air and try out my own product? That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So, like, if you want to do your own unboxing, like, hey, like, I'm not gonna react it, but if you want to do that, yeah, there's nothing that immediately comes to mind that was like, oh no, like, yeah, you could do your own Amazon Live with your own product, 100%. And I think that's one of the big like advantages of it, that you don't need to make this huge fancy production. Like obviously you want to be to a certain quality as most people would prefer, but you don't need to go nuts over it and spend thousands of dollars. You can set things up and do it on your own.
Okay, and JD's question, for customers visiting my external WooCommerce/WP website, is there a way to have the customer use a shopping cart on my site, then check out directly with Amazon to increase AOV?
No, I don't believe they would be able to do that through your website and then check out through Amazon. I believe you can direct people to Amazon, like to your product listing, but I don't think they'd be able to exactly like add to your cart and have that separate and then go to your Amazon store. You can link people to your Amazon store, so they're still going to the site or your site originally, but there's no way to I don't think there's a way to like check it out and then have the checkout process just be through Amazon. I think they would have to go to Amazon's site or more specifically your product detail page in Amazon store, and then do the do all of that there, such as the checkout process and everything before.
Okay. Our next question is, they'd like to know if y'all ever cross-promote products on Amazon.com with Amazon Prime Video. They are working on a marketing campaign that would involve both entities, and wondering what your thoughts are and if you've ever merged that bridge before.
So advertising on Amazon Prime is something that certain businesses do, but these businesses are they're spending tens of thousands of dollars, probably at minimum. They're not really accessible to these small business owners at this point, and it's not something that's usually geared towards them either, because it's more or less for a production as well. It's not for, or a TV show, still production, but it's not geared towards individual products. So I would say in essence that's not something that's been brought about yet, but more so for like small businesses who are product based, or just product based businesses altogether.
Yeah. Okay, and this is our last question. Says, do you have to be, and this is from Jeffrey, do you have to be a registered seller to access ASBA?
No, thank you. You know what? Great. That's a fantastic question. That's something I want to make mention more of. You do not. It's not associated with Amazon besides the name whatsoever. A lot of content is more geared towards general e-commerce, things that you could apply to a number of different e-commerce stores, and you just create your account on your own. As mentioned, it's complimentary and it's free. But no, you do not have to be an Amazon seller or selling on Amazon, or even have a customer account through Amazon to gain access to it.
Okay, and that is the end of the questions that I see. I really want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to thank Dan for being here, and Diana. Y'all don't see her, but she is also on here from Amazon, helping us out. If we didn't get your questions answered, or you think of one after today's program, you're going to get an email from me. It will have a link to today's recording. It will have a copy of Dan's slides. I will include the resources that he noted that are available for you to build your small business through Amazon. I know I have utilized your Small Business Academy, and it's just super. But really, we just appreciate everybody taking this time today to be with us and help us grow as a small business. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Diana.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you everyone for being here today.
Okay, and with that, Diana, did you want to go ahead and say something?
Oh, I just said thank you.
It's good to have you both here, and you will be back with us later in the year.
Yes.
So, and with that, we will end this afternoon's presentation, and thank you everybody for being here, and see you at the next webinar.
All right. Take care, everyone. Talk soon.